This video is going to be on using a 5-gas analyzer, and so I'm going to show you the setup and operation of an EMS 5-gas analyzer. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, this is the 5-gas analyzer, and it consists of the analyzer unit right here. This is an oil and water separator. A filter down here, there's another filter in the back. These are tubes that they just use for exhausting the water and moisture that it picks up, because typically a good running engine will produce water, and so we don't want to get that water inside the machine, so we have to filter it out. This is your sampling hose. This hose is a hollow hose, but it's flexible, but it's still, you need to be careful with it. So I ask that when you're using this machine, don't drive over this, don't step on it, and that kind of thing. And the other thing is, when you're using this machine, do not set it on the floor. It needs to be set on a table or a cart next to the vehicle that you're working on, because this is small. It's easy to be overlooked, and we've almost had one driven over before. So make sure that we do not set this on the floor. The other thing that you're going to need in order to use this machine is a 5-volt power supply. And so I've got a 5-volt power supply here, and it's plugged in, ready to go. So I'm going to turn it on. And when you turn it on, it's going to take a little while for this machine to come up and warm up and start and be ready to use. And so while it's warming up, you can have the sampling hose disconnected. So this hose here is your sampling hose. It plugs in right here, and we don't need to have it hooked up while the machine is warming up. Now this is going to take 15 to 20 minutes to warm up. So I'm going to go ahead and let this warm up, and then we'll come back and we'll hook it up to a vehicle, and we'll actually see how to use it. Okay, our machine is warmed up now, and we're reading 13 parts per million hydrocarbon, which is right here. Carbon monoxide, or sorry, CO2 is 0, NOx is 0, carbon monoxide is 0, oxygen is 21%, and air fuel ratio is 0. And then it also has an error code here. And what the error code is it needs an oxygen sensor. This tool you have to replace the oxygen sensor every year. And at the time that I'm recording this video, I'm currently in the process of trying to get an oxygen sensor. Anyway, we'll go ahead and use the sampling anyway, even though this might not be 100% accurate because we need an O2 sensor. So if we look at this, hydrocarbon is raw fuel, carbon monoxide is partially burned fuel, oxygen is what's in the air, it's what we breathe. CO2 and NOx, oxides of nitrogen, that's what is produced at 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit, or in mass quantities anyway. So right now, before we hook this up to the car, we should see pretty close to 21%. And because that's what oxygen content is at sea level, is about 21% oxygen. Hydrocarbon, it's probably picking up some hydrocarbon from anywhere. Hydrocarbons can be found in any kind of plastic, tires, rubber, silicones, all those kind of things. They all have hydrocarbons in them. So it's not uncommon to pick up a little bit of hydrocarbon. So let's go ahead and hook this up. And so a couple of things on this thing. You need to make sure that your sampling tube does not come in contact with any kind of oil, water, grease, anything like that. So you need to make sure that the sampling tube stays clean. If you look at the sampling tube up close, you can see the holes in the end here. That's what's sampling. And if those suck up any water, coolant, or anything like that, you can damage the machine. So be careful with that. And then we're just going to slide this into the tailpipe all the way in, just like so. And once that's slid in there, then you can put your exhaust hose on there so that you can run the vehicle. When I start the vehicle up, watch the hydrocarbons and the carbon monoxide. You'll see the hydrocarbons go sky high. Now what this tool does, it measures in parts per million. What that means is for every million parts of air, we have so many million, or so many parts of hydrocarbon, carbon monoxide, and so forth. So right now we're reading 19. So out of 1 million parts of air, we have 19 parts of that is hydrocarbon. And so it looks like it's just jumped down to 15. So we'll go ahead and start the vehicle up and see what happens. And it does take a minute for the machine to react. It has to sample what it's reading out of the tailpipe, and then it comes up on the machine. So if you look, the hydrocarbons have gone way up. We're over 200 now. Now it's coming back down to 195. So, but anyway, that's all you have to do to read the 5-gas. And we'll talk a little bit more in other videos exactly what the numbers mean and that kind of thing.